On March 1, 2015, at 3:40 p.m., Robert Feldman called 911, claiming he found his wife Stacy unconscious in the shower. He said the water was running and he was performing CPR, but first responders noticed no water on the bathroom floor. The 911 recording revealed no sounds of chest compressions. Instead, investigators heard a toilet flushing and items being knocked over. Something was wrong. Bob appeared disheveled when he finally picked up his children from synagogue hours earlier. His story was already falling apart. The scene looked staged, and Stacy Feldman was already dead. Stacy Malman grew up in Munster, Indiana, as the youngest of 3 sisters. Her family called her Daddy's little girl. She loved the color pink and radiated joy wherever she went. She dreamed of becoming a wife and mother. As her 30s passed, she watched friends marry while she remained single. Then she met Bob Feldman, 14 years older and full of charm. They married at the Ritz in Montreal. She wore a tiara. She believed she had finally found her happily ever after. They settled in Denver with 2 children. From the outside, their life looked perfect. Behind the perfect facade, problems were growing. Bob was a chronically underperforming salesman. Stacy had to work even though she wanted to stay home with their children. The house and all credit cards were in Bob's name only. He threatened that if Stacy tried to leave, he would take the children and leave her with nothing. He had multiple affairs using fake names like Robert Wolf and Mike Reed on dating apps. Stacy knew about some of the cheating. She tried to make the marriage work, but by early 2015, friends could see she was struggling. In February 2015, Bob matched with Susan McBride on Tinder under the name Robert Wolf. He claimed he was divorced and his ex-wife was an absent mother. Their first date went well, but when Susan tried to find him online, she found nothing. He said a stalker forced him to use fake names. Against her judgment, she trusted him. On February 26th, they had dinner and sex. Then Bob pulled away. Susan searched again and found Stacy listed as PTO president at her children's school. Bob was not divorced. He was very much married. On March 1st, 2015, at 6:20 a.m., Susan McBride sent an email to Stacy Feldman. She wrote that she had met Bob on Tinder and that he claimed they were separated. She said Stacy deserved to know the truth. She also forwarded their text exchanges. Just before 9 a.m., Stacy called Susan. She was not angry. She was calm and kind. She said this was not the first time Bob had cheated. Then she said 4 words that would become critical evidence. "I'm done with him." Hours later, Stacy was dead. Bob dropped the children at Temple Sinai Religious School around 8:30 a.m. Stacy was supposed to pick them up at noon for a Purim carnival. She never arrived. School staff called her phone, no answer. They called Bob. He said he would come. By 12:45, he still had not shown. When staff called again, he claimed a family friend was picking them up. He finally arrived at 1:05 p.m., disheveled and acting strange. Instead of taking the children home, he took them to the carnival and a bike shop. They returned home around 3 p.m. Dr. Kelly Kobolansky performed the autopsy on March 2, 2015. It was one of her first solo cases. She found more than 80 injuries on Stacy's body, including bruises, hemorrhages, a chipped tooth, and burst blood vessels in the eyes. These are classic signs of strangulation. But Dr. Kobolansky could not determine the cause of death. She officially ruled it undetermined. That ruling nearly allowed a killer to walk free. Without a clear homicide finding, prosecutors could not file murder charges. The case went cold. Bob collected $750,000 from Stacy's life insurance policy just months later. Stacy's sister Susan Olman never believed the accident story. 2 years later, she spoke to a psychologist relative who said the case sounded like domestic violence ending in murder. Susan contacted a Strangulation Prevention Institute. They connected her with Detective Randy Dennison, the original investigator. Then they brought in Dr. Bill Smock, a forensic pathologist who had worked on the George Floyd case. Dr. Smock had a 100% conviction rate in strangulation cases. Meanwhile, Susan McBride searched online and found Stacy's obituary dated March 1st. She became physically ill. She knew immediately that her email had triggered the murder. Dr. Smock spent months reviewing the case. He found defensive wounds on the backs of Stacy's hands. She had fought for her life. Bruising on her upper arms matched someone's knees, pinning her down. Fabric imprints on her skin proved she was dressed when attacked, not showering. There was no water on the bathroom floor. A dress watch was still on her wrist. The metal shelf that supposedly fell on her left, no bruising, meaning she was already dead. Dr. Smock testified that Stacy died from suffocation, strangulation, or both. The undetermined death became a homicide. Bob Feldman was arrested in February 2018, but COVID delays pushed the trial to April 2022. His own daughter, now 16, testified that the morning of her mother's death seemed normal. The jury deliberated less than 3 hours. They found Bob guilty of first-degree murder. Stacy's mother called him evil. Susan Olman said she had fought 7 years for her sister to rest in peace. Bob said nothing. He appealed, but the Colorado Court of Appeals rejected every challenge in November 2024. He was ordered to pay $111,600 for his children's therapy. The Sisterhood had won.